Welcome, Roster Wars, to the United Nations Rookie Summit. I'm your host, Corbin, joined with co-host Ross and Tyler, a.k.a. Cortez. How we doing, boys?
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How are you? Edge Defenders today? Exciting one, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, definitely some top-heavy guys in this one. Yeah, Ross gave it away. We are going over the Edge class today. We're going to be talking Rueben Bain Jr. out of Miami, David Bailey from Texas Tech, Keldric Faulk from Auburn, and Cashius Howell out of Texas A&M. But I forgot this last week. Not going to make the same mistake twice. Tyler, why don't you tell us about our rankings last year and the sleepers we had?
All right. Last year we did Abdul Carter, Mike Green, Jalen Walker, and Shamar Stewart. In the rankings, Ross had Carter, Green, Walker, Stewart. Corbin had Carter, Green, Stewart, Walker. And I had Carter, Walker, Green, Stewart. The stats: Carter played all the games, 43 total tackles, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He was drafted 3rd overall in the first round by the Giants. Mike Green, 17 games, 41 total tackles, 3.5 sacks, 0 forced fumbles. Round 2, 59th overall by the Ravens. And Jalen Walker played 15 games, 36 total tackles, 5.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Round 1, 15th overall by the Falcons. And Shamar Stewart had a contract holdout, played 8 games, 11 total tackles, 1 sack, 0 forced fumbles. Drafted round 1, 17th overall by the Bengals. Walker's the one who's in legal trouble now.
No, you're thinking of James Pierce.
Oh, good. Because Walker had okay. Then my rankings are the best. Just kidding.
As always.
Yeah. So, I mean, is Carter the best of this group?
It's still very early, I think.
You got to think, too, that he's also splitting reps with Thibodeau and Brian Burns. So I think I still think that he'll be the better long-term guy, switching his number to number 3 as well.
Yeah. If he can get over the porn addiction.
I must have missed that story. What's going on?
You guys missed that story?
Yeah,
he was in team meetings, like on his iPad watching porn or whatever.
So I'm not going to Google Abdul Carter porn, so I'm just going to take your word for it. I was typing it in, and I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I know he was caught. He was caught, like...
All right, I'll do it on my phone. I'm fact-checking you.
And I know there was issues with him in meetings and stuff like that, and I don't know if he got maybe suspended for a quarter or something like that, benched for a quarter, but yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, I think he didn't get to start the game or something, like first quarter or first half or something. Yeah.
The first results from Yahoo Sports on December 2nd, 2025. NFL Twitter fell for a fake reporter claiming NY Giants star rookie.
I fell for it too, but I mean, they came out after and said it was fake, but was it actually fake?
Good point.
I think Yahoo was faking the fake.
Yeah, the Giants are in Yahoo's pocket.
Smoke screen.
Yeah. I mean, who would even come up with that?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll get the sleepers now. And Ross had Antoine Powell Ryland Jr., who did not see the field. He was drafted round 6, 209th overall by Philly. He is now with the Bengals. I'll do me next. My sleeper was Jared Ivey. Played 2 games. Didn't record a stat. He went undrafted to the Seahawks. So maybe he has a Super Bowl ring. So congratulations to him. He's the winner. And then Corbin picked Nick Scorton. Played 17 games, 47 total tackles, 5 sacks. Drafted round 2. Was drafted ahead of Mike Green at 51st overall by the Panthers. I mean, if you're drafting guys who are taken in the second round, then I guess, it's pretty good sleeper with Waking. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to look really nice in this moment. That's why I picked him. But I mean, the thing about edge rushers too is you're not going to find that many breakout guys past the third round. Really, you really need to have like first, second, maybe third round draft capital to really be worth anything, especially when it comes to fantasy football. With that position specifically, it's pretty tough to find a diamond in the rough. So, yeah, you guys
Yeah,
definitely took a little bit more off the grid. I mean, I will say Jared Ivey, I was not very high on him. A lot of people had him going like I saw him going late first round last year, second round, and I never bought that. But Nick Scorton, like he's a pretty solid, like athletic run defender type guy. Having 5 sacks, I mean that's nice too. I thought he would be stop the run first, pass rush later. So yeah, he could develop into a pretty good player, and he should see some more playing time this year on the Panthers.
yeah, like you said, like with a late round, the sleepers is very difficult. The fact that we know Daniil Hunter was in the third round is because he's literally the only person who's turned into like an all pro guy from the late rounds. Isn't normally even like top five, top 10 you need to be a really good pass rusher, which we might have in this class.
True. Yep. All four of these guys, I mean, I think three out of the four for sure are going to be first round picks. And there's some other guys that are going to slip into the first round too. Some guys that we won't even be talking about today. One of them is my sleeper. I don't know about you guys if you went really deep, but I thought I would keep it a little bit more realistic and actually look smart next year this time. So we'll see if that happens, but we can dive into it here and we'll kick things off with Rueben Bain Jr., arguably the most elite edge prospect in this class. He's coming out of Miami, 21 years old, junior. He's been a contributor to Miami since week 3 of his true freshman year, and he's gotten better and better as he's gone along. Um, he measures in at 6'2", 263 pounds, no relative athletic score. He did not test at the combine. Maybe we'll get some numbers from his pro day. I didn't check to see if Miami had it yet, but keep an eye on those
No.
athletic testing numbers. Last year in 16 games, he finished with 54 tackles, 30 of those being solo, with 15 and a half tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks, a pass breakup, and a forced fumble. And then I combined his 2023 and 2024 stats. In 22 games, he had 67 tackles, 37 of which were solo, with 18 tackles for loss, 11 sacks, a pass defense, and 3 forced fumbles to go on top of that. Yeah, like I said, he is arguably the number one guy who's going to go off the board in the NFL draft when it comes to defensive ends. I think he's a very quick, like a very explosive guy off the edge. Maybe a little bit more of a pass rushing specialist than a run stopper. The biggest knock on him was his short arms at the combine. So we're definitely going to want to see the arm length at his pro day numbers. I've heard that they're typically an inch shorter at the combine for some reason. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I really like him, and I think he's a well-rounded player. He just totally dominated college football. And like you said, since he was a true freshman, he had 7.5 sacks in his true freshman year, which is crazy. And then if you watch him on the field, he's just completely disrupting like every single play. And I think he's got a really strong baseline of power and strength that I think helps him, and he pushes linemen back into the pocket and just general disruption. And I would disagree with you in terms of the run game. I think he is a really good run defender at the college level. I think he sets a really good edge. Now he's not maybe making as many plays to hold the alignment and then disengage and then make the tackle, but he's setting the edge with his power and allowing other people to swoop in and make the tackle, and he's maintaining his sort of gap discipline. I think that's what I really like about him, because on top of that, he's then got the explosiveness, the explosive get off and bend round the edge to make so many plays in the passing game. He's got this really devastating swipe move that he uses to get hands off him, and then he goes around the edge and stays low and sort of explodes towards the quarterback. He's got a couple of moves as well. He's got like a push pull that he uses in the run game as well. And in general, I think he's quite technically sound, and you can tell he's had like really top tier coaching as well. The Miami guys have Jason Taylor, former NFL player, who's the coach there, and you can see how sort of efficient and effective in his movements he is in general. And other than that, like he's got a good plan of attack as well, I think. Um, and high motor. I think he's got pretty much everything. I could just list off all the traits. He's got absolutely everything. And yeah, the one knock on him is his short arms, but to me, it's not really that much of a problem. Especially in the pass rush, like he uses his body so well. Like he's pushing tackles off with his chest sometimes. It's just a weird way, but I don't think it really affects him that much. And he's got some counter moves as well when he gets stuck. It's maybe just in the run game when he can't really make a long wrap tackle because his arms are a bit shorter. But other than that, I don't think it really. Me personally, I'm not affected too much by his short arms.
Yeah, I'll keep this short because you guys, of course, said it all. But the only thing is the short arms. With the short arms, like that, you just said it won't affect him, but it will affect him. Um, when he's trying to climb the depth chart and he's having trouble with the reach rounds, so that will affect them. Basically, everything you said, like I got him down as a 3-down pass rusher or edge. He definitely can stop the run. He's elite when it comes to power rushing. Got a comp of kind of between Trey Hendrickson and Cameron Jordan on this guy. But yeah, the short arms, reach rounds are vital. So
And my comp for Rueben Bain was Tyrannosaurus Rex, actually. So, but Hendrickson's a good one too.
And Tyrannosaurus Rex never got ahead in life.
True. Yeah. R.I.P. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Rueben Bain as a prospect. And when you're talking about these high-end guys that are projected to go in the top 10, you really have to be nitpicky here to find something because, I mean, if you look at his entire body of work, he has the production, he has the tape, he has the athleticism, he has everything that you need to be a solid edge rusher in the NFL. When I'm looking at my edge rushers, the first thing that I check is their get off at the snap. And he's got that elite first step. You see a lot of the times he's in the backfield before these tackles even have a chance to get out of their stance. So I really like to see that. I feel like you have the advantage right off the bat when you have that quick first step. He's got violent hands. He's very powerful. I like to see the high effort too. His motor never stops running. Even if he kind of gets stymied, he's always trying to fight to get to the ball carrier, get to the quarterback. And you do see some cleanup plays that he makes because of that effort. I will say, though, I saw that he had a really high missed tackle rate, a career of 20% missed tackles. I think that's just, Ross, you mentioned the gap discipline, and I think for the most part it's good, but he does get a little bit too excited, which puts him out of position and, results in those missed tackles. So that's something that he needs to clean up. I still think that he has a lot to learn when it comes to being an elite pass rusher at the NFL level. I think there's some counters, some secondary moves that he can add to his arsenal that will help with that. Like when it comes to the short arms, like what does that actually mean? And if you think about these offensive tackles like Spencer Fano, he's kind of not for his short arms. And it's about that reach because, if you have an offensive tackle kind of get into your chest, you don't have that arm length to kind of create some separation, which can kind of wash you out of the play. That's why it is an important thing to look at when you are judging some of these guys. Now, can it be done, with shorter arms? Yes. But, you're at a bit of a disadvantage. It's much better to have those longer arms where you can kind of stab and keep that tackle away so that you can bend around the edge and ultimately get to the quarterback and make the play. So, yeah, I mean, I love Rueben Bain. I have no doubt that he's going to be a first-round pick. There's just a few things that you look at that, can raise some eyebrows, but I don't see him getting out of the top 20. I think that's even being conservative. I think he'll be a top 15, top 10 kind of guy when all is said and done.
Top two, hopefully. But I think in
Yeah.
terms of the short arm debate, like people talk about how no one with this short arms has been drafted in the NFL and whenever since records began. But I think that's a little bit of a chicken or the egg thing. I think about in terms of Devonta Smith. So when he was coming out as a wide receiver, he was really light, and there was all these records about no one at this weight has ever been drafted in the first round. That's because no one at this weight has ever been as good as Devonta Smith has been and deserved that pick. And I think it's the same with Ruben Bain. Like, no one with this short arms has been good enough in college to warrant a top 5, top 10 pick. But Bain really is. Like, I don't really see many flaws in his game. And I think people are maybe just using it as a crutch, I suppose, and just something to talk about in terms of the Bain, anyway, in my opinion. But maybe I'll be proven wrong.
Yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention too is his versatility. You can line him up at wide nine. You can bump him in almost into like a three tech. He can go inside on obvious pass rushing downs, and you can put maybe a lighter, more pass rush specialist on the outside to pair with him. So that's another interesting thing about his game that will make NFL GMs think, I can really use this guy in a lot of ways. So I do think that he'll be drafted highly, and the tape backs it up. The athletic profile, I mean, we'll see, but it all shows on tape. So, yeah, no solid critiques on Ruben Bain for me whatsoever. All right. Let's take a look at this other guy here. Another potential first edge rusher off the board. It's David Bailey out of Texas Tech. He's 22 years old, senior coming out of college. He was 33rd ranked recruit in the country, a very decorated high school career. Started off at Stanford, and he chose them over Alabama and Penn State. This guy is a pretty smart dude and a freak athlete. He's 6'3", 251 pounds. He has a 9.55 relative athletic score with a 4.5 40-yard dash. He's got good splits with that. Elite explosion. He did not do any agility testing. Last year in 14 games, he had 52 tackles. 32 of those were solo. 19 and a half tackles for loss and 14 and a half sacks. That led his conference. I think that was second or third in the entire country. He also had 3 pass breakups and 3 forced fumbles. In 2024 at Stanford, in 12 games, he had 31 tackles. 22 of those were solo, 8 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, a pass breakup, and 5 forced fumbles. So the last 2 years, he's had 8 forced fumbles. He's batting down balls. He's hitting running backs in the backfield. He has the production as a pass rusher. Another guy who has that elite first step. I think that, one, the combine numbers validate it, but he is just an absolute freak athlete. It shows on tape. The combine proved it. He's got speed power. He's got power speed, that relentless motor. Really everything. He's checking every single box for me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, one thing I love the guys who are step up to a new level and just prove themselves straight away. So he was obviously at Stanford, impressed there, transferred up, and then impressed even more. And like you said, like the first thing you see is he's unbelievable first step quickness. He beats the tackle to the edge like straight away. And most of his sacks are like instant. They're like under 2 seconds. It looks like he's been teleported into the backfield. He's just so quick. And because of that speed, he can also win with power as well. He wins with speed to power as well. And he has a spin move to come back inside if the going around the outside doesn't work as well. I think he's really productive as a pass rusher. He's mostly going to be a stand up outside edge rusher, I would say, just with his size and, to be honest, his usage. I think he can sometimes maybe get pushed past the quarterback a little bit if they step up in his pocket. Um, and he maybe lacks a little bit of power and strength in the run game. He's more about sort of shooting gaps and penetrating rather than sort of making plays and sort of setting the edge. And that just depends on the situation he's going into. He may not be asked to do that, but it maybe just has maybe a little bit more limited in terms of scheme he can go into, I would say. Um, but yeah, I think he's maybe a bit more one dimensional right now than I'd like him to be. But that one dimensional was like insane. It's pretty phenomenal. Um, and thinking about how that can translate to be successful in the NFL, it's sort of like I was thinking Nick Benito or Trey Hendrickson, where he just needs to be competent in the run game and not like a complete liability, so that he could stay on the field for those downs and then utilize his skills when he really needs to be.
Yeah, everything you said, like first step, all that's great. He's very inconsistent though with the run game, and a lot of his pass rush ability is kind of raw. Like he needs to work on it a bit. Yeah, I got a comp here of Rashawn Gary, And I think like the Green Bay Packers are probably going to draft this guy, and then he's going to turn into Gary, and then Dan's just going to love it. He's going to be, yes, I got my Gary back. So, yeah, I don't really see. I don't know if this guy's quickness is going to be that great come NFL. I mean, it is what it is, right? He's a boomer bust guy. Basically, out of these guys, I'd say he's the most boomer bust.
David Bailey?
Yeah.
I thought you were looking at the wrong scouting report, man, because I think that the pass rush upside is probably the best in this class. I think that he's pretty much on the same level as with Rueben Bain as a run defender. I would probably give Rueben Bain the nod there. So that might potentially take him out of, obviously, like rushing down first down opportunities, but he's going to be on the field in every single situation where they'll be passing the ball. He has those elite traits, that athleticism. I think that he's actually really polished as a pass rush already. He has a speed, power speed. He has the counters. He has a ton of different moves in his bag, and sure, he can absolutely get better, but I think he's pretty much ready to go from day one as a stand-up edge rusher. I don't think you have that versatility to really bump him inside. He's only, 250 pounds, so he's more of that kind of Sam, wide nine kind of guy that you want on the outside generating pressure for you on passing downs. I saw that there's some concern that his frame is maxed out and he doesn't really have a ton of room left to grow. I don't know if I really believe that. I mean, once you get into an NFL workout program, the nutrition and everything, I think that he could add 10 pounds on there. But the question with that is, do you, sacrifice that athleticism that you see now for the sake of getting a little bit bulkier? I think you got to kind of toe a fine line there. But yeah, David Bailey's got all the makings of being an elite edge rusher, a fantasy football contributor. I think, it wouldn't shock me if he finished this year with 10 sacks. That's how good he is on the outside as an edge rusher.
Yeah, well, Gary was a bust too.
Yeah, and the Packers are not going to get him. Not a shot. He's not getting out of the top 10.
Out of the top 10?
No.
Oh.
Not David Bailey.
Okay.
I could see Rueben Bain sneaking out. He's been falling off. People have been cooling on him a little bit, but I don't see it with David Bailey. He could be top 5.
I think they'll both be top 5, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah, they're right there. They're neck and neck, honestly. It's just nitpicking. It's, we'll see how the rankings shake out, but, very nitpicky between those two. They're both great prospects. They both deserve to go top 10. I think they're going to be productive on whatever team they go to.
I got him as a late first or mid second.
David Bailey out of Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Hot take, dude. Hot take. I honestly thought you were looking at somebody different, honestly. He's not that quick. I mean, he ran a 4.5. Like Ross said, he teleports in the backfield. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what your rankings shake out to. We'll be looking back at this next year. Yeah. Play by ear.
You seem upset.
I'm not. I'm just shocked, honestly.
You're a little upset.
No, it's okay. It's whatever. You didn't like him. It's good to know.
No.
It's boring when we all agree.
All right, let's move on to Keldric Faulk out of Auburn. He's 20 years old, only 20. Junior coming out. I think he'll turn 21 in September, so he'll be 21 by the time the season starts. He played in every single game as a true freshman, became a full-time starter, and had his best season as a sophomore. Junior year, he was moved more to the interior. He played about 30% of his snaps from the inside, and that's just due to his size. He's 6'5", 276 pounds. Didn't do any – well, he did do some testing at the combine, but no relative athletic score. I think all he did was vertical and broad jump, so great explosive scores there. Last year in 12 games, he finished with 29 tackles. 23 of those were solo, with 5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 4 pass breakups. And in 2024, through 12 games, he had 45 tackles, 29 of those being solo, with 11 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, a pass breakup, and a forced fumble. So this is a little bit of a different prospect than we've talked about. At his size at 276 pounds, I mentioned that they bumped him into the interior. He has the size and the versatility to play inside and out. He is more of that crush the can type edge defender. I don't know if you guys remember Michael Williams for last year, but he reminds me a lot of him. So, with that, I would say he's probably the best edge defender when it comes to stopping the run in this entire class. Pass rush, he needs some work there, a little bit of polish. I mean, he can get it done, but that's definitely not his strong suit.
Yeah, he's physically very impressive, and the only edge whose big highlight plays are in the run game. It's just weird to see, and I like the Michael Williams profile as well. I feel the exact same. In the run game, he's really violent, and he takes on pulling guards, and he can hold the line of scrimmage and keep his eyes in the backfield, and then disengage and make the tackle. But when it comes to the pass rush, there's nothing that NFL tackles are going to feel. There's no real urgency to get up the field, and even when he does win, it's like watching a completely different player. Like I wonder if you just tell him that the quarterback is a running back, if he'd actually be so much better. Because it's crazy if you just watch his pass rush, completely different player. Um, and the stats back that up as well. The pass rush win rate is the lowest in the class. It's under like 12% compared to the other guys we're going to talk about are in the 20s. He did have 4 bad passes this year, but to me that's because he was nowhere near the quarterback and he was able to put his hands up and get in the passing lane. And yeah, I struggle with where he's going to go because there's always people who fall every year for the young guy with the physical gifts and they hope he can become a good pass rusher. But I don't think he's just like raw. I think he just lacks the skill. And he's a really good run defender. And I think he'll be a useful piece on an NFL team. But when he's not impacting the passing game, like I don't know where the line would be to then take that in the NFL. Like, is it late first or does he go into the second round because he's a or a one-dimensional player, I suppose.
Yeah, I like this guy. I got a comp to Eric Armstead.
I actually thought that too. That's a good comp.
He's very strong versus the run. Like you said, versatile. He can play inside and outside. Like his powers, everything size.
Powers.
I got to see him going 31st overall. But yeah, he's a high floor starter.
And this is a guy that. Oh, sorry, I thought you were finished. Go ahead, Tyler.
No, I'm just. He's so good at stopping the run because his dad is Marshall Faulk, and he taught him how to get to the running back. So
he's taught him all the tricks.
Yeah.
Just spreading misinformation throughout this one, Tyler.
Which one is true? Oh wait, sorry. Could have been Kevin Faulk.
No, I mean, I hear what you guys are saying. I don't think that his pass rush is as bad as you're saying. Like, the difference is his run stopping ability is elite. It's the best in this class. It's NFL ready. He can step in day one and be that anchor on the edge for you. He's got good gap discipline. He has that anchor to maintain his gaps, and he shows pretty good discipline there too. So, when it comes to stopping the run, he is NFL ready, 100%, no doubt in my mind. The pass rush does need some work. He's all bull rush at this point. He really needs to develop some pass rush moves. I think that's going to help a lot, but realistically, it's probably a lower ceiling on the pass rush upside. But he does have long arms too. With Rueben Bain, a little bit shorter arms, he has that ability to kind of stab the offensive lineman and use that to bend around the edge. The first step, not the best. He has a little bit of a slower get off. I'll admit that I did mostly watch the 2025 tape where he's on the interior, and so he's not meant to rush the quarterback at that point. He's really trying to push the pocket and clear up some alleys for linebackers and for the edge rushers to go and make a play. What did I want to say here? I think there was something else that I was missing, but I've actually looked into Keldric Faulk quite a lot because he's commonly mocked to the Lions at 17, and I don't think that he's going to slip out of the top 15. I kind of hope that he gets drafted in the top 15 because I think the Lions will take him, and because that can crusher type edge rusher is what they have shown they've sought after for years and years. They haven't been able to pair anybody with Aiden Hutchinson, and we really need an offensive tackle this year. If Keldric Faulk is there at 17, I don't see the Lions not taking him. I mean, because historically, that's everything that they want in that guy. You saw Michael Williams. We thought the same thing last year, that he could slip into the 20s. And then I think he went like 13th to the 49ers. He definitely went, early on, much earlier than I expected. So I think that size is something that NFL teams do covet. And he's still young. He has some upside in the pass rushing department. But is he a solid fantasy football contributor? That's what I don't know. I don't think initially he's going to, he's not going to blow up his rookie year and have 10 sacks, but he is going to see a lot of playing time. With some of these guys, they could be used more as third down specialists. He's going to be there on first and second downs, and they can bump him in to the inside, kind of similar to what they did with Rueben Bain. He could be a 3-down player right off the bat. So I do like the upside with Keldric Faulk. I think that he's going to see a lot of playing time, get a lot of snaps, and that means fantasy football points for us. So I do like the player, and I think that he'll be a solid NFL talent for sure. He's got elite qualities that you like to see.
Yeah, about bumping inside, I think to me, profiles more as a 3-4 defensive end, like a 5 technique, um, rather than like an on the edge rusher. And he may be put out there in early downs to set the edge and hold the edge, but definitely on the later downs, you want him inside.
Yeah, and that's fair. Again, it's all about the run stopping ability for me because he really is the best in class at that. So I like to see those elite traits. It helps you get on the field. It helps with your draft capital. And, the pass rush, we'll see if he can develop that over time. Just might take a year or two to really get that down. Let's move on to the final guy we'll all be covering. It's Cashius Howell coming out of Texas A&M. He is 23 years old, so a little bit older, senior coming out of college. Played first couple of years at Bowling Green. He's had 5 years of college experience. Moved to Texas A&M. I think it was just this last year, if not maybe 2 years. I could be wrong. 2 years at Texas
2 years
A&M.
at Texas.
Okay. Athletically, it's all there. He's 6'2", 253 pounds, so a little undersized, but his RAS came in at an 817, and that's mostly dragged down just due to his height and weight. He ran a 4.59 40-yard dash with elite splits. That's what I really look for. He had good explosive scores. He did not do any agility testing. Last year in 13 games, he finished with 31 tackles, 20 of those being solo, with 14 TFLs, 11 and a half sacks, 6 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. And in 2024, in 13 games, he finished with 40 tackles, 26 of those being solo, 8.5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, an interception, 7 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. And those 2024 numbers are notable because he still has solid production, even playing behind Nick Gordon and Shamar Stewart, who were some of the guys that we had talked about at the beginning of the show. I think Nick Gordon was a second-round pick, but Shamar Stewart, he might have been the very first pick in the second round. So practically 2 first-rounders playing ahead of him, and he still was able to show that production. He's got a phenomenal first step. He has the pass rushing chops. He has, great pass rush moves and instincts already built into his game. But at 250 pounds, 6'2", is he going to be able to be successful at the NFL level? That's kind of the question mark.
Yeah, well, when you talk about his Texas A&M, like I thought he was the best guy in the field, like in that year where he had those 2 guys, or Shamar Turner as well, who was a second round pick to the Bears, obviously a interior guy, but I thought he was popping off the screen, and you can see him popping off the screen because his elite quickness off the snap. He's a poor man's David Bailey to me in terms of his profile. Really bendy around the edge to get around the tackle, and he's got like elite closing speed to finish and make plays. And obviously, 11.5 sacks shows you how good a finisher he is. At 19.8% pass rush win rate, which again is very good, behind Bain and behind Bailey, but still very good. And he's got a lot of different moves that he can pull out the bag to get to the quarterback. And I said he's a poor man's David Bailey, but maybe he's a small man's David Bailey. He's got those short arms, which everyone seems to hate these days. But I think it does maybe actually affect him more than Bain to me because he doesn't have as much power in his game as Bain. So he's maybe utilising those arms to maybe keep himself clean more than more than Bain, and I think it does affect him a little bit more. And I think he's going to be maybe a late first, early second round pick, but he's definitely going to be a designated pass rusher to start with. And again, it's like, can he become competent as a run defender to get himself on the field a little bit more and get those snaps like that we want in terms of fantasy? Because it's difficult to be, just be a pass rusher and be a boom bust guy. He's like a weekly gamble. Like, is he going to get a sack or two? And if he does, you get some points. If he doesn't, then he's an absolute zero. Um, but in terms of NFL, I think he's got a relatively high floor in terms of he can be one of those rotational edge rushers that just bounce around the NFL, have like 6 or 7 different teams. And I was thinking in terms of like Arden Key. So he's a guy who seems to always get paid every time he goes into free agency, but he's not like a every down player. He's a guy who makes some splash plays and he's a rotational edge rusher, and maybe not an elite fantasy asset.
Yeah, cool stuff. Everything you said. Yeah, this guy, to me, he might be the best pass rusher, like pure pass rusher in this group. But he's got like, the comps that here that I see is a lot of Hasten Reddick, which would kind of fall into what you said, Ross, about being that guy that team to team, like a key. But I think he also like potential comp is Brian Burns if this guy can reach his elite potential. Um, yeah, again, he's got just a boot as best you can get.
Yeah, it is a boot of best as you can get. I mean, I don't disagree that, you turn on the tape and his pass rush skill set pops off. I mean, it's so clear. He's got everything that it takes. He has the pass rush moves already built in, and I think he has some upside there still. Really good instincts, reading plays and reacting. The first step I mentioned, he has that high motor. He's batting down balls when the pass rush does fail. So, he can be useful even when he's not winning reps. He can still come out with, a successful outcome. That's all in college. So the real question is, once he has to go up against these, 320-pound NFL tackles who have these long arms, is he going to be able to beat them? Like, athletically, it's there. The pass rush is great. But once he starts seeing some of these bigger tackles, he could struggle at the NFL level. So I don't think that the floor is as high as you guys. I mean, I don't think it's as high as you guys make it seem. And I don't think that he's ever going to be solid against the run. Honestly, he's not a very good run defender at all. You see tight ends taking him out of plays a lot of times. It's not just tackles. He can't set an edge. He can't anchor. He's just too undersized. I think that if he was playing off ball, maybe he can get a little bit of speed. He has a way to, not get stymied. But, if he's not winning with his first step, it's pretty much over at the NFL level. That's kind of how I see it. For that reason, I think that he's more of just a 3-down player. He is still very solid. Like, don't get me wrong, his pass rush, like the tape's all there, but can that translate to the NFL? That's what I don't know. I'll say that, the guys we talked about with Bailey, Bain, and Faulk, I think that they're kind of in that, and you got to throw Arvell Reese in there too. Those four are kind of in the top 4, tier 1 of these edge rushers. And then I think there's a ton of guys that could be late first round, second round, early third round picks that are in the second tier that are very, very valuable. I think he kind of falls in that bucket for me. I just think that, the run defense is just, it's not good. I don't think that his pass rush may translate to the NFL. We shall see.
I think that the biggest problem is that you spend $150,000 on an education you could have got for $1.50 of late charges at the library. But I just think, you guys stop being a hater, man. Just stop, Quit being
No,
a hater.
I'm just hey, I don't want to be that storm cloud, but hey, I just call it like I see it, man. I mean, the college tape looks great, but let's take a look next year and see how it pops out on tape against NFL competition. I don't know if it's going to be there. I just am a little bit hesitant with him, but I do see why he's an intriguing prospect, and I think he's more of a second rounder. I don't think he should go in the first.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think speed always plays though. I think you always think about how does it translate to the NFL, and speed just kills everywhere, every single time. Like I was hesitant about Chop Robinson, and you see all these other speed rushers who are like literally third down players. That's it, but they stick around the NFL for a long time because of that elite trait.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll
These
see. I mean,
rankings are these
he's
rankings
not.
will be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see how he pans out. I mean, he's not off my draft board by any means, but I think he could play out a lot like James Pierce. He was the best of the rookie class, I believe, when it comes to edge rushers. And throw the legal stuff aside, I just don't know if he's ever going to get up to be that 250 plus fantasy points in a year kind of guy. I can see him kind of like leveling off around like 200 at best, and then at worst case he could be out of the NFL after his rookie deal's done. That's why I don't know if I really want to spend a high draft pick in our roster worst draft on him.
Okay, you're wrong. Cool.
Okay, well, we'll see how it pans out on these rankings here. Tyler, so you got Cashius Howell 1. Who's coming next for you?
I didn't say he's 1. God. Okay, well, I will start off the rankings then, yeah, like you said. Hey, cool, Yeah, I'll get this done, yeah. I got Bain Jr. first. And then I do have Howell second.
Holy shit.
Oh boy. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of I've been binge watching Mayor of Kingstown, and I'm feeling really fucking gangster, so better watch.
I guess so. Feeling yourself.
I want to make this point that I added a light in, so hopefully Sean's happy. It's what the mayor does, makes people happy. Then I got Faulk third. And then what the hell? I have Bailey fourth, thank God.
Controversial.
Wow. Bailey fourth.
Yeah, I'm more chalk, I suppose they would call it. I'm definitely Bain number 1. Bailey 2. I go back and forth on this, but I think in terms of fantasy, Corbin, you made a good point about the early down work and getting the tackles, and I think maybe I'd have Falk number 3 with Hill number 4.
Okay. I've got David Bailey number 1 and then Bain number 2. I go back and forth on these guys, but I feel like Bailey does have that athletic profile to develop a bit more as a pass rusher. I think that he's going to have more snaps right off the get-go. I don't know. It's just kind of more of a gut thing than anything because they are very comparable for me. I like both players a lot, but I gave Bailey the slight nod there. When you throw Arvell Reese in the mix too, I think all 3 of those guys are very comparable. We already talked about him in the linebacker group, but he could be I think Reese is probably number 1 out of those 3. Then I've got Keldric Faulk at number 3 out of the 4 guys we discussed today, just for the reasons Ross mentioned. He has, he'll be on the field for 2 downs at least every single series. I think that he might be a little bit lower in his rookie year, but I do have faith that he can develop a solid pass rush repertoire in, his first sophomore year, junior year, something like that in the NFL. So Cashius Howell comes in at number 4 for me. I wouldn't be surprised if he is number 1 as a rookie this year, but I think that's kind of where he is going to stay.
Saving
I
his
don't
health.
think that he has a lot of room to grow where you have Bailey and Bain and Falk that I think have a little bit more upside.
Yeah. So you pick him fourth, but then you say he's going to be the best rookie, just to save
We're
your.
not talking just rookie year.
Then you can go back and be like, well, I did say he'd be the best rookie, but wait till year 3. Wait till year 8.
But do you think James Pierce is going to be the best rookie out of the class last year? I mean, if he was playing, like it's kind of the same thing. Like I'm just like, okay, like I can see him having like 10 sacks his rookie year, and then other guys are going to pass him, in that second and third year is the way I see it. I could also see him being pretty irrelevant too. I think that Falk is very safe, and I think Bailey and Bain are very safe. Howell is more boom or bust. That's how I see it. So for that reason, he's fourth on my list.
See, I think that Powell has the highest ceiling out of all 4 guys. Bain's the safest pick for anybody to take. And Falk is very dependable based upon scheme. And Bailey has high upswing, but very, very low downswing.
He's very niche. He is a great college pass rusher. If that translates to the NFL, you could very well be right, but I have my questions, which is why I prefer some of these other guys. They're a little bit more safe and they have a similar ceiling. But all right, we can go back and forth on these guys until we're blue in the face. But let's talk about our sleepers, because we had mentioned, there's a lot of guys in that second tier that we could have talked about today. I think they're kind of on the same level as Cashius Howell. It sounds like Tyler thinks they're on the same level as David Bailey. He's wrong. But Tyler, anybody that you're putting over David Bailey as your sleeper?
I don't know, man. I picked my sleeper 5 minutes before we started this when Ross told me something about him, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll pick that guy. I'm going to go with Akeem Mesidor. He is 6'3", 260 pounds. I have no knowledge of him yet. I'm just looking now. He seems like a good-looking kid. Probably second-round projection on him. But, the biggest thing about him is that he's Canadian. And he grew up in Ottawa, Canada.
That's the sole reason.
That's I was like, what? I'm gonna go with him. Imagine a Canadian as a pass rusher. Like, I mean, we're just built for it. We are strong as oxes up here. So
Violent people.
we're not violent. We're the only people who have a sport where we fight in, as I was talking to you about. I mean,
wait, what sport?
Hockey.
That's not Canada's. That's the U.S. sport now.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh no.
That's ours.
Hey, is that you, Nick?
We'll have to tag him in this. Clip that, whatever minute it is. 48 minutes. Nick's going to want to tune in.
Fucking, what was it, 47 years? You guys got lucky? 46 years?
Tyler, I mean, dude, come on, man. Just give up, man. You guys lost. 4 years from now, you'll have a chance to redeem yourself. Oh, my God. I just saw his deep breath, man. We got to move on.
Next year, when they're doing the World Cup and all these teams have to come to Alberta. And
if you guys win an exhibition game, we'll give you a pat on the back, but, don't last forever. It's okay. I do like Mesidor a lot. I just think that he has a very low ceiling. He's also 25 years old. So if he's a first-round pick, by the time he's done with that rookie contract, he'll be damn near 30. So I don't think that he's going to give you long-term fantasy value. I mean, you're going to get an extra 3-4 years out of, any of the guys we discussed, more than you would get out of Mesidor. But, he's very balanced as an edge rusher. He has good pass rush skills. He's good at stopping the run. I just don't think that he has the potential to be, one of those, top 5 guys that everybody seeks, Bosa, Garrett, like a Max Crosby. I don't see that, but I do think that he can give you a very solid performance on a week-to-week basis when it comes to fantasy.
Yeah, I really like Mesidor. He was going to be my guy, and that's why I told Tyler about him being Canadian. But you're right, like he's 25, and there's a couple of reasons for that actually. Like when he was first couple of years in Virginia, Virginia Tech, he was played as a defensive tackle, and he's played as a nose tackle as well. So he didn't get a real start as an edge rusher until later in his career. He's got 1 year of production really. That's that final year, but it was like an insane year, an insanely productive year, a really good year. The downside being that it's opposite like Rueben Bain, and is it because Rueben Bain was a focus and he was cleared up a little bit? But I don't think so, to be honest. I think he's going to come in and I think he's going to have a really good rookie year. And I think he's an ideal prospect for that late half of the first round who don't really care if they're going to get a second contract out of him. If he gives them 5 good years and then he moves on, then they're happy with that. I was thinking in terms of the Bears maybe who need like pass rush production like now. I think he'd be a really good fit there.
Yep, not a project. He's a guy that, in Lions circles, they've talked about the Lions moving up in the second round to go get because he might only be good for that one contract, but those 4 or 5 years, you're going to get solid production off of him right from the get go. So I do like Mesidor. I think that's a solid pick. I just don't think he has the upside of some of these other guys is all. So that was your sleeper also then, Ross?
No, I'll pivot. I'll pivot.
Okay.
So I'll go next then. So I'll take Malachi Lawrence out of
Damn
UCF.
it.
Is he your sleeper?
Yeah,
Is he?
he's mine.
Yeah. I really like him. He's a 3 year starter. He had 20 sacks and 28 tackles for loss over the last 3 years. 6'4", 253 pounds, and he's an uber athlete. Like he's a 9.4 RAS, I think. He jumped 40-inch in the verts and ran 4.52 in the 40. And he's just got an explosive first step. He can beat tackle around the edge so easily, and he's got that long arms to get in and affect the QB. I know I dismissed Ruben Bain having short arms, but you can tell Lawrence is physically impressive with his long arms, and he actually uses them as well, really well. I don't think he contributes a lot as a run defender right now. When he does, it's usually on the back side of the play when he's like running down the line, and when he does, to be honest, he hits like a truck. Like he dives on people with those giant arms and drops his full body weight on them. And to be honest, he's just aesthetically pleasing more than anything. It's just nice to watch. But I think, like you said, he's in that tier, so I think he's maybe going to be a second round pick. But with that size, speed, movement skills, I'm taking the Russian upside. Like I feel like there's a lot of high motor run defenders in that sort of tier, but give me the guy who's got the pass rushing upside and the sort of physical prowess, and maybe we can shape him into being a competent run defender.
Yeah, this is really weird. Like, I just looked at his profile picture and he's African American. Like, is this the first? That's weird.
Yeah, the first African American we've talked about all day. Surprising. I wonder how they get.
I'm as shocked as you guys. I'm as shocked as you.
I know. Who would have thought that these African Americans would make solid NFL players? Not me.
I mean,
but here we are. Yeah, Malachi Lawrence has been on my radar for a couple of months now, and maybe like a month or two at tops. But he really started to grab my attention after his combine performance. His combine darling, and I think that not only NFL scouts but media have really caught on to this too. I've seen him being mocked at the end of the first round, and for good reason. Like he's more athletic than David Bailey. He's got a 9.94 RAS with a 4.52 40, elite splits with that, elite explosive scores, no agility. But when it comes to his pass rush, I think he might have the best moves in the class. The bag of tricks that he has. He's got it all. He's got counters. He's got swipe speed to power. Even a little bit of power and speed, but I don't see that working as well for him at the NFL level. The first step is there. He's got the relentless motor. He's got the length. Uses his hands really well. Violent hands, can use that to disengage and ultimately clean up. But the run defense is my concern. He doesn't anchor very well in gaps. He's another 250-pound guy. You see some missed tackles. He gets a little excited sometimes. Kind of the same concern with David Bailey. Can he add more weight to his frame without losing that athleticism? I see him more of a third down guy to start off. If he can develop, a solid anchor against the run, I think he can become that 3-down player. But, we're talking about Cashius Howell and all the reasons you guys like him. I would put Malachi Lawrence over Cashius Howell because I feel like, they're similar, but Malachi Lawrence does, all those things Howell does just a little bit better. Another guy that I could see finishing as, the number one edge rusher in the class when it comes to fantasy production, just because he could get you 10 sacks off the bat. But I have a feeling that some of these higher end guys are going to surpass him, even if he does have a phenomenal rookie season. But still, if we're talking a guy that's, not as heard of, he's more of a late riser. This is a guy that should be on your radar. I think you could get him for solid value in your drafts. All right.
Is that who you're going with? Is Lawrence?
Yeah, Malachi Lawrence is mine. Yep.
Okay.
That's going to do it for this one, guys. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's an exciting class. There's definitely some guys that we haven't even mentioned today that you should look into. I think there's probably like 5-6 guys that shouldn't get out of the second round, really. I think there's a ton. Like edge and safety are two of the deepest positions in this class, so those are some guys you definitely want to check out. We're going to be back next week, switching it over to the offensive side of the ball. We're talking tight ends. And then we've got 2 more episodes after next week. So the draft is coming up upon us, less than a month away at this point. So stick around. You're going to want to tune in. Make sure that you get all the dirty details on these rookies and make sure that you're dialed in when we hit the rookie drafts and roster wars. So thanks again, everyone, for listening. We'll catch you next week.
And I know tight ends.
Do ya?